Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Anubis Tomb, and today we are going to be playing a little bit of Warframe. Now, this may or may not turn into a series, depending on the response, whether it has a good response, bad response, whatever the case may be. This may end up becoming a series, but basically, my goal at the moment is to basically create the perfect index build. From Warframe to primary to secondary to melee, all the way through everything. Make everything as overpowered as I possibly can. Make it so that I can practically never die in the index. Now, if you've seen anything about this game, you probably know a little bit about what's going on, what I'm going to be trying, probably some of the strategies I'm going to be using to try and complete this and create a build, because I'm still kind of middle of the road, kind of mid-game. So, depending on whether or not you've seen much Warframe gameplay, you might know what's going on, you might know what I'm going to be doing. I keep repeating myself, but that's me. So, step one is to get a basic setup. Of course, this is not going to cut it for the index. Level 23 Ignis Jat Kusar, not going to cut it. Luckily, I have put together a small combination of stuff that might work. Now, this is a build that I've been working on for quite a little while on my Tigris. This is just a pure, like, damage-based build. It's got about, like, what, 50,000 damage on impact plus 20,000 per second, I think it is, that the effect ticks. So it's a decent Tigris build. It'll one-shot most, and I say most, but it'll one-shot most enemies. Haikus, this is a little bit iffy, and Galatine, again, iffy, could be better, could be a lot better, could be better than gas damage, for Lord's sake. But Helios, I don't actually remember whether or not Sentinels are allowed in the index, but who knows. So your gear is not really gonna matter, but no. We've got Rhino stats, Tigris stats are decent. Haiku's and Galatine's just kind of meh. So the goal for this quote-unquote series, quote-unquote adventure voyage, I'm trying to think of the word here, endeavor, there we go. The goal in this endeavor is to create a build from head to toe of perfect index, like a set of perfect index gear, and that's going to start with having, in my opinion, that's going to start with having the right Warframe. I'm going to be going with Rhino, just because Rhino is a beast. He looks like he can bench press New York City with a single hand. And he's overall, his ability of Iron Skin is incredibly just perfect for the index, as long as you can remember to reactivate it. Typically, round 1 of index, you'll be fine. Round 2, where people start doing more damage, a little bit harder to kill, then it's a little bit more iffy, because you gotta remember to keep your Iron Skin active, make sure to refresh it whenever you can, or refresh it whenever it's getting low, and B, you gotta remember, round 1, you're basically invincible. Round 2, not so much. You can go down very quickly, especially with my quote-unquote build on him. So Iron Skin is going to be your main form of protection. Currently, this is the modding setup. I don't really know if there is a way to do this more effectively, because that could go. Do I have any other? I think this is the one that I have for. Yeah, this is the one that I have for I think, anyways, I think this is the one that I had for specifically defense. Yes, thank you, Lotus. But let's see here. We've got almost max vitality. As you can see, I still don't have quite as many maxed out mods as I would like. Almost maxed steel fiber. I would like to get that higher if possible. But he's got 646 armor. That's great. Like, that's really, really good. I'm really quick, let me check. More space. Huh. Who would have thought? Okay. I don't actually know if I have an Exilus adapter. I don't think so. Focus lens might be helpful. I'm gonna wind up getting sidetracked, aren't I? Okay. Anyways, let's see here. 200 plus 200% shield plus 200% health. Like unwieldy armor. So let's see here. From a basic config, it is. So let's see here. Basic config C is all green stats. So when that comes to sprint speed, shield is better, health is way better, energy is double, and armor is practically double. Oh wow, hang on, oh wow, that's not triple, but close to 2.5 times. So the armor is a really important one because the more armor you have, the harder it is to deal much, if any, damage. So I think this is going to be the build that I'm going to go with for Rhino because of the fact that it's more armor based. Of course, I have the augment mod for Rhino, Iron Shrapnel. This allows me to release, I guess, expel Iron Skin and then reactivate it immediately after if I have the energy for it, which I do. Blind Rage for ability strength, not maxed because I don't know how much ability strength affects Rhino. But that's just kind of a thing. Vitality for health, of course. Flow for the energy. Not that I really need it. I could probably wind up switching that out if need be. So Blind Rage and okay, again, if Blind Rage's ability strength doesn't really do much for Rhino, I could switch it out. Flow for energy. I don't really need as much energy if I'm doing an index build because you pick up one orb and then you're good to deactivate and reactivate Iron Skin. Armored Agility. This is a good one for the index because of the fact that Armored Agility allows me to, well, A, have more armor, and B, gain bonus sprint speed. As soon as I can, I'm going to be trying to get this Exilus adapter spot opened up and use a, hopefully mod it so that it has a, Narrowmon. I'm going to try to use a Narrowmon mod slot for it so that I can put, wherever my, yep, here is Rush. Because currently, as you can see, I've got 7 up here, which 7 spots available, or 7 spots left available. So if I throw this on there with a Narrowmon modifier, that should set me up for an A-OK time with sprint speed. Okay, then moving on from Armored Agility, Flow, Iron Shrapnel, of course, allows me to release and reactivate. Intensify is, again, ability strength. Depending on whether or not it affects anything, I could remove those two and replace it with something else that has more armor or something with more importance to it. But Steel Fiber is armor. This is a big armor one. As soon as if I can get this thing maxed, I'd say if I can get this thing maxed, it's going to be really, really useful. Because let's see here, 6, so I might be able to do 1 more, 2 more. Yeah, I might be able to max that and still be able to, and still be good. Vigor is shield and health, so this is really, again, it's just a booster to my shield and health stats, which should keep me from taking damage as long as possible, or at least keep me from dying for as long as possible. because I'm not going to end up using too many of Rhino's actual abilities aside from Iron Skin, even if they are very powerful and very like hard hitting. But I mean, the my Tigress is going to be my main source of damage with its like 50,000 on first impact. So that's going to be that. Again, if ability strength does actually allow you to have more effective Iron Skin, I will be pumping so much ability strength into Rhino. But if that is not the case, then I can ignore it entirely and actually probably make some room for more important mods. But that's the Rhino build. Next, going on to the Tigress Prime build.
Well put together, operator.
This is a build.
And cut down the. And make the Lotus proud.
Thank you, Orvis. Okay. So this is a Tigress build that I've been working on for a little while now. This is mainly to do as much damage as possible as quickly as I can, so that I can get that first hit headshot kill, get the index point, and turn it in. That's going to allow me to make as much money as possible, or credits as possible, by the time that I need it. So currently I'm sitting at 1.877 million credits, which to an experienced player is absolutely nothing. That's pocket change. And with as much as mods are costing to upgrade fully, like for instance this Prime Point Blank, let's just, for the sake of examples, go ahead and take a look here. To level it up once more costs 494,000 credits. To max it is going to cost 1.4 million, and that's for one mod. Now take that and try and do it multiple times over for any other Prime mods you have, or even mods that just go up to, say, 15. Mods that go up to, for instance, 12. Like, let's take Vitality for example. That still is an expensive one. So it all just varies depending on what your situation is, I guess. Of course, I'm still working on making the room possible to put a Riven mod in this slot. If I can get a hold of a Riven mod, that would be great. That'd be incredible. Because if I can get a good Riven mod in here with damage bonuses, that could push me up into the, I don't know, 30... The highest mod build that I've seen is a 36,000. There are probably higher ones on the internet, but that could push some of these, like maybe the slash damage into the 36,000 range. That would definitely give a boost to the radiation damage if possible. But trying to trade for Riven mods or buy Riven mods at the moment isn't necessarily easy, because Riven mods, if you try to buy them off of people, they are so expensive. They are incredibly expensive. And then when it comes to the rest of these mods, it took me a bit of trading around, trading some of my corrupted mods to try and get some of these mods, like Vicious Spread. That was one that I didn't have. That's an incredible one to have, but I didn't have it before, so now that I do, that push, like without it on, that brings this down to 22k and 15k there. That's actually quite the difference. It's an important one to have. Now if I can go through and find it again. There it is. Now, of course, Sweeping Serration is another one that I was having issues with. That is massive damage to slash. That takes 29,000 down to 13k. The numbers are incredibly different. But no, having all these mods on is extremely helpful. Those two are good ones that I have. I've been trying to get these two for a little while. Blaze is a dual status mod, or it's a dual mod, so it increases damage as well as heat, so that's a good one to have. Shell Shock is a good one because that gives me the radiation that I'm looking for, which is electric and heat, but that also provides bonus status chance. So the higher the status chance, the more likely you are to actually afflict enemies with status, which I've got an 84% chance. So the 26% that I don't, the 26% of the time that I don't actually afflict them with status, they're still going to get smacked in the face with 50k damage. So then, this is multi-shot. Multi-shot, if you don't know, multi-shot actually affects the amount of damage that you do, because depending on your percentage of multi-shot, which this is 120 plus a bonus 60, so that's 180% multi-shot, which, when taken off, the damage difference is incredible. It cuts 20, again, going off of this status, it cuts 29,000 down to 10,000, and it cuts my 20,000 radiation down to 7k. It's insane how much multi-shot actually affects, the damage of a weapon. So these two mods here are focused on that. Of course, you've got your basic prime point blank. This is always going to be staple. This is one that you're going to have all the time. Or, I guess point blank also works, but the prime version, you can get it higher than you can with the normal. But point blank is just straight up damage bonus. So a lot of this is just damage bonuses, but the multi-shot really comes in clutch here. Welcome back. Sorry for the interruption there. Had a little bit of an issue with the dogs. But no, this build is based a lot off of a friend of mine named Macho Man's build. He's the one who's been showing me best ways to do things with the index. He's been showing me what it's like to go through the index, and he's I believe he's mastery 26. I want to say 26 or close to that. 26-ish I think is his mastery, so he's quite high up there. I'm currently only 11. But no, this is based heavily off of his build. Thank you so much, Macho Man, for showing me this build. This is an incredible one. Now all I'm missing really is a bonus damage Riven mod, which is what I'm saving this slot for, and I'm going to have to use maybe another Forma or something on it. So these two, I'd say, are pretty well set to take on the index. But then there's also the issue of the secondary. My haikus. These things are wonderful. They're excellent for normal missions. They're excellent for dealing out high amounts of damage over a short period of time. I say high, but they're excellent for dealing good explosive damage per second. Thank you, Concealed Explosives, for allowing that to happen. Concealed Explosives gives an 80% chance to explode, which also can do damage to me, but it's worthwhile risk. They are incredible when used properly, especially if A, I've got Rhino and Iron Skin, or B, I've got Inaros, who has close to, I think I've got 5,060 health on Inaros, or something close to that. I think it's 5,060, but anyways, yes. Plus, if I take Inaros's fourth ability to create extra shield at the cost of his health, I won't do much, if anything, to my health with these things. But bonus fire rate. This build could be easily much better, but fire rate, because the sheer speed of these things going out and doing explosive AoE damage is wonderful. Hornet Strike, again, just the basic principles of damage mods, of course. Heated charge, heat damage mixed with electricity is going to cause the radiation that I am looking for. And then if we come down, Pistol Pestilence is toxin and deep freeze for cold damage, which that could be better, but I don't really know why it's not. I don't know if I have a fully upgraded one, but Yeah, I don't have a fully upgraded one. That's kind of sad, but oh well. Magazine capacity. That's right. Okay. Okay, that's a bit confusing. 40% cold and 40% mag capacity versus 60% cold and 60% status chance, but this one costs. Okay, cost less. Um, oh well. Anyways, but yeah, that's got two different status types on it. I could probably focus a bit more on purely the radiation damage and really pump that damage up with some multi-shot.
Check navigation.
Thank you, Lotus. I could probably pump the damage up on the radiation, and probably I could probably do a little bit of work with this puncture damage maybe as well. But it is what it is. But currently that's my haiku build. It's not the greatest. It's probably pretty bad comparatively to some of the other builds that are out there for haikus, and I also have a few different weapons that I could use. I have not upgrade. I've got Exolitos. I say a few. Wow. Okay. I've got one other weapon I can use at the moment. I've got the Axolotl Primes that are also quote unquote useful, but they are what they are. Okay. But that's my secondary setup. I can, again, any advice I can find online from you guys in the comments. I'll take any advice you guys would recommend for secondary weapons. I'm mainly going to sticking to this, which again, I will take any advice on modding these as well, but this could use a little bit of work in general. And melee weapon choice. Pick one. I've got the Zaw is gonna go eventually. I just need it for the mastery. But I've got the Legion, Orthos Prime, Skiajati, Shat Kusar, Heat Sword, Gundao. Heat Sword's gonna go. Gundao's probably gonna go. Broken War Sword is. I'm gonna keep that as a souvenir because I don't think you can get that anymore. Fang Prime, probably gonna go, but I don't know when or why. I'm keeping it around for Inaros' sake, but Anyways, Galatine Prime, the Broken Scepter is just, again, for kind of sentimental purpose, I guess, as a reminder of the quest line for it. And the Atarax. Atarax is, again, mastery-oriented. Jatkusar and Atarax probably going to end up going eventually. I might keep one of them just for the sake of having a whip on hand, but who knows. But those are the weapon choices for that. Currently, the Galatine Prime build is not the greatest. You can take a look at the stats. I'm not going to run through every mod since we're already running on and on about the mods and stuff. But currently, I could use to have more overall damage and speed, because currently, if you take a look at one of my other weapons, such as, well, let's take a look at the Legion. With this thing, I can basically turn myself into a blender and hit so much faster than the Galatine, because I have Berserker on here, which, if you don't know what Berserker is, it increased 30% attack speed for 24 seconds on critical hits, which as long as I keep swinging, I'll get this thing up to 75% in no time. But yeah, I can do 412 slash damage with this thing, times however many times per second I can attack, versus the Galatine swings so much slower with this thing. This thing turns basically into a freaking blender. Like, I'm not even kidding. Same goes for the Orthos. 499 plus 249 plus 145. That's incredible. Again, I can turn it basically into a blender. And then take, for instance, this Skiajati. Again, 506 and 312 times however many times I can swing it per second. It's quite the difference. So Galatine, I don't know what the recommendation would be on melee weapons for the index. But overall, that has been episode 1 of the perfect index build. Next episode, I'm going to get into some of the processes of what it takes to go for some of the primes and some of the things that have been recommended for index builds for modding it. I'm not excited for the Riven mod trading and farming and stuff, because Riven mods are a pain in the ass to get. But this has been episode 1. Next episode, as I said, we'll go through some of the process of getting some of the primes that we need, some of the various mods that we need, some of the various new weapons that we need. I'm going to go through the process of getting stuff to be ready and prepared and ensure victory in the index. But for now, I will see all of you in the next one. Goodbye.